let's talk about the upcoming events for this week, especially, well, let's begin. So today, Wednesday, we have industrial output in the UK and trade balance at the same time. UK has a big trade deficit, but this doesn't have too much of an impact on the pound. At 3:30 GMT as usual, oil inventories, but the big event for today, let's put it in bold, is Donald Trump's first press conference in, if I'm not mistaken, 160 something days, nearly half a year, okay? So during the campaign, Hillary Clinton was criticized for not holding a press conference for a very long time. Trump didn't do that either. Of course, Trump has his Twitter account to tweet about everything. Lots of things in the press conference to talk about. The main political news is the Russian hacking scandal. Trump and Obama were briefed about that. The latest revelation is that maybe, or maybe not, the Russians also have some dirty material about Trump's business and personal stuff, something they could use against him. But this is not clear. What is clear to the US intelligence agencies is that Russians were involved and wanted Trump to win, wanted Clinton to lose. These allegations, of course, will weigh. But for markets, markets are more interested in two main topics. That's fiscal stimulus. Remember, the dollar rallied, and Fed even raised its forecast because of expectations for more fiscal stimulus, more infrastructure spending, more military spending, no cuts in Medicare, and that's a positive thing. If Trump backtracks on that, that's bad news for the dollar. But if he supports that, that's good news for the dollar. The second issue for markets is trade. Trump tweeted recently about, tried to threat U.S. companies, especially car companies, to remain in the United States, not to move factories to Mexico. Okay, but the bigger worries about our relations with China and in general NAFTA. Let's see if he talks once again about these issues, or he tones down, trying to be fair with everybody or something like that. So these are the main topics. Of course, there will be also, apart from the Russian hacking allegations, there will be talk about repealing and replacing Obamacare and many other things. It begins at 4 GMT, probably be broadcast on many networks. I expect markets to move, of course, the US dollar, especially against the yen. I have no idea if it'll be good for the US dollar or bad for the US dollar. Trump is very erratic and tends to contradict himself. We'll see quite soon. At the same time, in Capitol Hill, we have the confirmations of his cabinet. Especially what's interesting for markets is Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, but everything will probably be confirmed. That's what usually happens. Let's continue. This is, of course, the big event for today. Trump. Tomorrow, we have the ECB meeting minutes. So this is important this time because the ECB decided to extend its QE program to the end of this year, to the end of 2017, but to reduce bond buys from April and to change the bond limits. Let's see if they were more optimistic or more pessimistic about inflation, about the economy. As tomorrow, an hour later, at 1:30 GMT, we have jobless claims in the US, like every week. We have speeches by Fed members. This could impact market. Just watch out for that. Maybe it'll be nothing. And import prices to show us inflation or how the strength of the US dollar dampens prices of imported goods. But the really big day for economic indicators, of course, politics is always in the background. We have on Friday, first of all, a speech by Yellen. She might not talk about monetary policy, but it's still worth mentioning it because she's, of course, the most powerful central banker in the world. Chinese trade balance. Let's see how the global economy is doing. You can ignore the Chinese trade surplus, but look out for the level of exports and imports. More is better, more economic activity, better for the world, better for Australia. Australia's number one trade partner. And the big event for Friday is in the US session, is the retail sales. Of course, the US economy is a lot about consumption. This is accompanied by the PPI, Producer Price Index. Let's see if inflation in the pipeline, inflation that begins from producers and reaches consumers, if it is on the rise, and consumer sentiment will have the last word at 3 GMT. This is consumer sentiment from the University of Michigan. We had a good read from the conference board recently. Okay, so this concludes our upcoming events for this week. A week that began quite slowly is heating up with Trump and later with retail sales.